With the Fighting Irish coming into its home finale, there were several questions that needed to be answered. Whether the Irish were considered national contenders or were they just pretenders. Hopefully, with the home stretch of games coming down and an important one on Senior Day, the Irish would be able to answer those questions. Want to find out how they performed Saturday on Senior Day? Stay tuned to find out on Talk Like a Champion. Welcome back, Irish Nation. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend, as sure as I did, knowing that it's always a good weekend when we can come out victorious. I just want to wish my daughter a happy second birthday. Daddy loves you. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo here. As we are nearing the end of it, you guys, we've got less than 2 weeks before we have Thanksgiving. And of course, you know what that means. That means that we're right there at the home stretch of things. I think we've only got, three more college football selections. No, 4. And this is going to be exciting. I must admit, this is going to be rather exciting, especially looking at the weekend, which, guys, if you want to check out my all access college football show, it's called Gridiron Gav Triple Option, and find out what I'm doing over there. As you guys find out, I'm very critical of the committee and even the individuals that are part of the selection committee, as they've gotten it wrong several times, and you guys will see as they moved us up in the polls this week and moved a certain other team higher than they needed to be. But you guys already know how I feel about that. But anyway, on Senior Day, the Irish welcomed in the Virginia Cavaliers. We got to see one of our own in Chris Tyree, which ironically enough, he made a mistake that we were able to capitalize on early in that game. But before we do that, let's get into it. Notre Dame 35, Virginia 14. And most people don't realize the Irish were bringing in a 7-game winning streak. And of course, Marcus Freeman and company have not let it boys in blue, white, and gold and green forget that embarrassing and possibly season-killing defeat. Bring them down. And these guys have played exceptionally well. And I think a lot of people forget, including myself, we've got several starters down, from defensive players, impact players, to offensive linemen. These are injuries that would hurt most teams. But this season, the Irish have been able to prevail. They've been able to win games. They've been able to withstand all of this, especially defensively, being one of the top 5 defensive teams in the country, especially top 5 against the pass. So, needless to say, the Irish, top 15 defenses, you guys. And it's been nothing but an exciting experience, knowing that you're going to be a part of this if we keep doing what we're doing. But Notre Dame 35, Virginia 14, they go to 9-1 off of a lot of people are going to look at this and say this was a close game, and it wasn't. They tacked on, 14 points in the second half, And Notre Dame had its opportunities. I felt like that if there was one thing I could take away from this game is that Notre Dame got sloppy in the second half. And it was almost like they put it in cruise control to a certain extent. And ultimately, you cannot do that. Especially when you're getting ready. You should be getting into the mode of playing your best football. And I think I remember hearing one of the announcers on TV say that they thought Notre Dame was going to top 50 points yet again. And honestly, they should have. This should be very concerning for Denbrough and the Notre Dame offense. As we look at this game, we'll look at the stats and we'll talk about what initially happened in that game that disallowed Notre Dame to really finish with a bang. And that's what you ultimately want to be able to do, is you want to be able to, it's not running up the score, but you don't want to have a situation where your starters are still in the game and you're unable to really put the game away. And that was really concerning for me. But looking at the final statistics, Notre Dame outgained Virginia 448 to 300, which is a little bit concerning because normally it's been almost a 2 times. Notre Dame's nearly doubled what the output of the opposing team is. They threw 3 interceptions, and ultimately, Calandra was pulled for Tony Muskett, who came in and looked pretty good, considering a guy who, was not the starter. He looked impressive. But Calandria had some throws where it just looked like the Notre Dame defense was baiting him. That's what it really looked like. You could tell it was an experienced secondary taking on a guy who was a young guy, a sophomore. But I think there's hope for him. I think he's got an opportunity to learn from his mistakes. And I mean, you look at Riley Leonard, who's supposed to be a seasoned vet. There were throws he didn't necessarily make that were good throws. But he did end up 22 of 33, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. And as I said, I'm really wanting this Leonard to get where he's throwing the football more. I get it. He threw 33 times, but the reality it is, can we win a game on his arm? That is the big question. Can we win a game on his arm? I'm not sold on it. And neither should you be. None of you should be sold on whether or not this guy can win a game on his arm, because I don't think he can. To me, it shouldn't just be about winning. If you're like me, you want to win a national championship. You don't want to keep sitting back here with the idea that, well, we're just going to get there. To me, being number one is number one. It's not about whether or not you're going to get there. Every year is a journey. You're not guaranteed to get back here. You have to play every single game like it is the last, pulling out all the stops and putting the best players in the best position to win the game. Jeremiah Love, 16 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jadarian Price, 6 carries, 44 yards. Leonard had 32. First game without a touchdown from what I recall. Aeneas Williams got 7 carries, 23 yards. As a team, Notre Dame ran for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not the issue. We all know what the issue is. We got to be able to go down the field. If you guys watch that Georgia-Tennessee game, Tennessee's got just a good running game as we do. I think Nico had some issues throwing it down the field. You got to be able to throw it down the field against defenses like that, and you can't be scared to throw it down the field. Receiving wise, Jaden Harrison had 3 catches, 41 yards, and that touchdown catch, which was a beautiful one. Mitchell Evans had a great touchdown grab, and then there was a great fake by Riley Leonard, and then the jump pass to Cooper Flanagan. That is a move that we could definitely use later on, and it could possibly be a 4th and 1 play. Especially if you get a team that is definitely going to be trying to stop you that way. You could definitely run that play. Yeah, seriously. Colsey had 2 grabs for 16 yards. I'm glad to see that because we're going to need him later on. Jaden Thomas had 2 grabs for 14 yards on senior day, as well as Jaden Grayhouse had an injury that he came back. We didn't see if he came back later on, but he did get banged up earlier in this game, but I think he, like I said, he returned. Mitchell Evans, as I said, had a touchdown catch. Jeremiah Love had a grab today. But I like the fact that we're spreading it around, with Chris Mitchell as well. But the thing is, we got to be able to break it down the field. That's the issue I have. And I'm hoping Deion Colzie didn't get a grab because it was senior day. This is a guy that needs to be out there. This no playing around. He needs to be out there because he can help us immensely. Just like Jaden Thomas can. These are forgotten guys. These are guys that can help us when we get to the playoff. These are guys that are huge players. I mean, you think about it. You got a guy in Jaden Thomas that's 6'2", 218 pounds. Both of these guys are from Georgia. Colzie from McDonough, Georgia, and Paulding County for Jaden Thomas. In the defense, we just cannot stop bragging on these guys. Hanish had a sack. Riley Mills, once again, balling out with 4 tackles. The tackles were really dispersed in this game. You also saw Jack Kaiser had another sack today. R.G. Oben had a tackle for a loss, along with Joshua Burnham. And we're just getting a lot of help and a lot of good stuff from our defense. Not to mention we added Adonai Schuler had an interception. Leonard Moore had an interception. Xavier Watts with another interception. And then, like I said, Schuler returned his 46 yards. A great return. And you're just seeing this defense really starting to assert itself. And, of course, my man Kennedy Urlacher during the cleanup and during the mop-up duty, doing what he does best, just hitting and making plays. Bryce Young, once again, making a contribution. You're seeing so many great players that are young, that are going to be the foundation of the Irish for so many seasons to come. And for them to go out here and just absolutely put the top on Virginia was just nothing short of refreshing. We've got to get better as far as throwing the ball down the field. And I keep saying this. This is the only issue I see with the Irish going into the final weeks of this season. And we're going to need it against the opponent that we got this week. And you guys know who I'm talking about. This is a rivalry that goes many, many moons back. But we have to be ready for them. And honestly, I was glad that we looked good early. Because, unfortunately, we weren't able to put this game away as soon as I thought we were. Because it looked like we were going to come out in the second half and we were just going to just light it up. And, unfortunately, we were unable to do that. And that was what I was talking about when I said what I said earlier. We've got to come out and we've got to do things differently. And when we look at Riley Leonard, he's still making these unforced errors, and that's not what you can do. First drive of the second half, because if you do that against a quality playoff caliber team, they're going to hurt you. We were very fortunate that they got the ball back and kicked it to us, and then they scored a touchdown, and then they came back and basically did the same thing, and then unfortunately we were unable. We drove the ball all the way down the field and ate up 8 minutes of the clock and did not score. Oh, yeah. I mean, we had a good game plan, 14 plays, 72 yards, but we couldn't get it in. So then you have a missed field goal. So ultimately you had an opportunity to really run this game out the building. Of course, Virginia scores. They took a methodical 16-play, 80-yard drive and spent 6 minutes on it to get on the board yet again, which is possibly a momentum booster for them in the next game. But I just have a problem because normally we're a good finishing team. And right in this game here, we started strong and it just kind of fell apart. But ultimately, hopefully everything's going to work out for its best. We, of course, know what we've got coming up in a couple of days. We know that the meat of our schedule is behind us, but we still have 2 major tasks to hit up. We've got 2 major rivalries on our schedule to close the season. And the reality of it is we are going to have to make some noise in the passing game. Because right now, we are straight 98th in the country in passing yards. We got to make that. We got to do something about that. Now, granted, we are 11th in points scored, and we are 3rd in points against. But we really not faced but a handful of powerful offenses, and you guys know this. Louisville isn't a powerful offense. We've got USC coming up. We got Army coming up next week. We had Navy early, and we were able to get some forced and unforced errors. But those are not guarantees, guys. We got to come out. And Riley Leonard's going to have to start giving his receivers a chance at these balls. When these guys get one-on-one, you got to get it up there and give them a chance. Give them a chance. Learn to put some air under that thing. But, guys, let me know what you think about Notre Dame's victory over the Virginia Cavaliers and former Irish mate Chris Tyree. Make sure you leave comments down at the bottom. Also, if you subscribe to the channel, please, I'm begging you guys. I can't stress how much I need you guys to leave your names in the comments so I can know who you are. Also, go to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo. Check out the things that I'm involved in. Also, check out Gridiron Gab Triple Option if you want to know what my thoughts and opinions are on the College Football Playoff Selection Committee's decisions, as well as the AP and the Top 25 as well. Also, go to my Facebook page at Talk Like a Champion. Find out the other things that we're involved in and what we're doing. But until we meet again, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun rise warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.